Yeehaw and giddy up, partners. It's time for the Phreak Show. Patch 9.12 happening. You know what that means? Everyone's on PvE playing teamfight tactics. It also means a new patch is hitting pro play, so we can talk about that too. And it was a massive patch, actually. It was huge. Mordekaiser got his second rework, Ryze got his sixth, and a bunch of champions popular in pro play got nerfed. There were also a couple of buffs, and we'll talk about those as well. But first, the spicy changes. The new Mordekaiser is scary. And it's also completely irrelevant because he's disabled from pro play the entire patch. So, don't think you'll see any play. Ryze got a suite of changes all across his kit, with every single button he presses getting some level of difference. Essentially, his overload deals the same damage as before, but he can't shield himself anymore. Rune Prison deals a bit more damage, but does not root the target unless they've been spell fluxed. That is a huge nerf to his crowd control. Spell Flux now always bounces to secondary targets, but those bounces don't deal damage. Overall, though, this ends up being an increase to his AoE damage output because you spread overload much more frequently. Finally, his ultimate now has a third rank and is ultimately a stronger ability at most stages of the game. So to reiterate, his overall damage is about the same, but he is better at AoE as compensation. That said, he lost his shield and reliable root, which is a nerf. And ultimately, he's been about as successful as before in solo queue, and I expect in pro play, we see the blue man group with his team as well. So, gonna see him a lot. Karma got massive buffs to Inner Flame Slow and her shield's mana cost and haste. She is absolutely bonkers as a champion right now, and pros are trying her out in basically every single role. She's a top laner, a mid laner, a support, and even a bot laner if you're brave enough to try. She's gonna be 100% pick and ban, and teams who don't know how to play her are hard trolling. And you can quote me on that, because it's definitely true. Somewhat less important are the buffs to Zac, which mostly boil down to his early jungling being faster. It's really only North American pros trying him out right now in solo queue, so maybe we don't see worldwide pickup, but I think Zac is in a good spot now and deserves to see spotted play. We had small buffs to Lulu, Ashe, and Caitlyn, with the last one being the biggest beneficiary. One thing that will help pros pick up Caitlyn is to realize she needs to build an Essence Reaver along with that Infinity Edge. She does not scale well with attack speed, so just stack attack damage, everyone, at home as well. That's the build. We'll talk about bot lane a bit more later on. Nerf-wise, Nautilus, Aurelia, and Tahm Kench all saw light touches that might nerf their pro presence a little bit, but shouldn't change much. More importantly, Aatrox got pretty meaningful nerfs. His passive's cooldown and ultimate's healing got worse, and he did see a bit of a dip in performance in solo queue. Whether it's enough to make him break from the permanent ban list remains to be seen, but with other priority solo laners in pro play losing even more, he's probably still top billing. Speaking of priority solo laners, oh man, Sylas got destroyed. His wave clear got clobbered. He only gets his E-shield if he lands the stun on a champion or monster, and he barely got anything in return. Teams will probably still try to make it work, but I think Sylas is dead and gone until there are compensation buffs, which that'll be in 2 weeks. So let's take a look at the state of the game right now. Aatrox still reigns supreme over all of top lane and is flexible into other roles. Ryze is likely to join him as the right-hand man. Light touches to Aurelia means she's not going to move much down either, and that basically covers expectations of high-profile solo laners. Mid lane is pretty much wide open after Ryze now that Sylas is gone. The jungle is ruled by Sejuani. Olaf fills in behind her, but the list branches out pretty widely from there with healthy variation based on a team's preferred playstyle. The bottom lane is where things get a bit more interesting. Sona right now only has about 50% presence across pro, which means in most games where she's not banned, teams aren't really trying to play her. She's just around. Xayah is still kicking around, but not really taking over every league. And Sivir and Ezreal are also pretty popular, but generally there is space for teams to play their own style. Yuumi will remain top dog, or cat, at the support role, but is joined by her number 2 in Lux. As it turns out, a mix of great team fighting with her AoE shield and strong laning with light binding make her a premier pick With Nautilus moving down slightly as well, we are probably headed for an Enchanter-heavy metagame. Karma is likely to be topping the list with the recent buffs, and it might make room for the increased presence of other long-range pushing marksmen, like the Caitlyn we mentioned before, for that lane synergy. We're going to keep seeing Essence Reaver and Infinity Edge marksmen. Shielding supports are big. We're going to see variety from the jungle and a lot of bans thrown at solo lanes this patch. Now, have a rootin' tootin' good time, y'all. Yeehaw!